So this is my easel setup if I'm painting close-ish to my car, not having to walk a long way, so relatively close to home, Sydney, Central Coast area. I've got a variety of backpacks and baskets that it fits into. I would have my normal studio palette. That's how dirty I like to paint with my palette. The water well sits down into that gap. I've got my brushes. I'll use a gator board and loose sheet paper or a block like this. The 31 by 41 is my favourite size block in the Arches rough paper, and it just depends on again how far I'm going to be walking. This is my heaviest setup. It's from On Plein Air Pro, but in saying that, it's not heavy, but it's just not something I would travel internationally with. But I wanted to show you this because this is the best for my height. I'm tall, 178 centimeters. The tray table is a great height for me to be able to paint, and it's very sturdy. I love this setup, and I've had it for quite a number of years, maybe 7 years, this easel and board that it comes with. So it has a backing board like that on a quick release plate. So this is my traveling setup. This is a smaller, more lightweight camera tripod with a bit of a makeshift piece of plastic that I had from another setup that I've made into the backing board. It has a lip that holds my blocks, and then I would have this little setup on my lap. So often I travel with a bigger palette like this, but I'm going to wind that back next trip to this little one that I've just put some pan paints in. So that's a little bit smaller and lighter, easier in my handbag. This is a really comfortable chair, the Helinox telescopic legs. And this is just a little piece of core flute that I've made. It's got a few magnets if I want to use the magnets to hold my metal palette. I've got always my hat, sunscreen. This is a really handy contraption if you're painting in a hot place, a cool towel. So you put some icy water in that in the morning, give it a shake up when you're getting a bit hot and sweaty, and pop it around your neck, and then just shake it every now and then and it cools down. So that's my travel setup, where I've got a backpack to carry everything in, and it's fairly lightweight. I do have another new stool that I'll take for my next trip, the Walker stool, but I haven't tested that out yet. I know this Helinox one is super comfortable, and I could sit for 2 hours or so and paint in that without any issues at all. It's great to have really versatile equipment, and so often I set my easel up like this with the backing board flat, and then I would have my palette, my water well and brushes and things on that, and I might be painting with my sketchbook just sit on my lap, and that is an easy way to set up as well, where you've got a little side table beside you. So this setup is just what I call my little mini sketching, what I would kind of refer to as if I'm urban sketching. I've got the smallest palette that I can make, just a couple of brushes, sketchbook, and everything's on my lap. I'll use this little water well on it's called a cup. It's a fold back clip that is like a cup holder. Please excuse, you can see my slippers in the background there. I've got my little satchel here that has all my pens in it, which I can't live without now. The only thing I haven't got just handy is some little clips or elastic I usually have in my kit just to hold my sketchbook open if it's windy. And so I've just made this piece of core flute that folds. You saw it in the other video, it was folded up. I'll just move everything off my lap. And so this is more compact, it just folds over. So it's a piece of core flute, split 90% of the way through, and some magnets set into it, and then I can fold it up and fit it into my bag easier, my satchel bag that I might take if I'm doing a lot of walking in the day and just want some sketch equipment on me. This is what I use on my knees. And on those days I wouldn't carry a stool or a chair. I would just hope to find, you know, a rock or a sandstone block. There's often lots of chairs and things around in parks, and if you're traveling through Europe, that you can sit on to sketch. And now for super lightweight is this little satchel by Heiko Beers that I buy from Larry Post. I'll just unzip it with 2 hands and it folds down so it stands up like this. This is fantastic when I'm traveling, you know, to be able to just pull out in a cafe. It's really non-invasive. It'll sit on the table. It'll fit my palette inside it. I've got a little tiny container of water, my white gouache, a variety of fountain pens and white gel pens. I've got a 2B and a 6B water-soluble graphite, pencil, and I have a couple of water brushes and these travel brushes that fold into the lid. So the lid becomes the handle. This is a number 10, I think, in the Escoda range. And then just in this little front zipper pocket, I keep my eraser in a little tin, and then I've also got some water-soluble graphite that's a little bit darker than the other one. Because I use a mechanical pencil, I've always got some leads for my mechanical pencil. And I do have a couple of sketchbooks that actually fit in here as well. A little A5 sketchbook will fit in there alongside my palette. And this is fantastic for just having in your handbag. It's super small and compact, but it's got everything I need to just sketch on the run. So as a review of chairs, this Helinox chair I've had for maybe 4 years, and it's fantastic. I've taken it on multiple overseas trips. It's comfortable. You know, you can sit in it for quite a few hours comfortably and sketch. But my next trip I wanted something that packed smaller. This is lightweight, but it's about, you know, you can't wrap one hand around the width of it. So I bought this one. I don't really look at the height of it. I'm tall. If you're shorter, that might be no problem at all. My daughters just laughed and said, "You won't even get one bum cheek on that, Mum." But I can sit on it for a short period of time. But because of the height, my knees are more up in the air. So to paint on my lap is going to be trickier. So I think that was a waste of my $10 on Amazon. And so on a few other recommendations, I've now bought the walk stool in the 45 centimeter height. And this is what I think I will take on my next travel trip. I'll close them all down and show you what size they are to carry in a second. So the Helinox is lightweight but a little bit more bulky widthwise, like I can't quite wrap my hand around it, if that gives you a perspective. The walk chair I can easily wrap my hand around. I can Velcro it to the outside of my bag if I want to. The same with this, I'll use those carabiner loops and hook it onto the outside of my bag sometimes if it doesn't fit in. And this was the little small one, which is meant to fit in your back pocket. It has a tiny little bag, which I took it out of the bag yesterday and now I can't find the bag. So I've just tied it with string just to show you. Super lightweight. If you're short and sitting for short periods of time, that might be awesome and all you need. So that's my review. I can't tell you which is my favourite yet because the only one I've used long term is the Helinox chair number 1.